Hello, my friendos. I think we got, yeah. You didn't get all your inventory done, Danny. What's going on? Hope I'm sounding good. I've been fighting the mic today a little bit. Switch over to that lo-fi. Too many exams. Yeah, that makes sense. Just finished up with Gloomhaven tonight. I'm not quite tired enough. I have a bedtime for Salty, but Salty is asleep. I will tell you a story for sure. I don't know as though I've ever read the original Rumpelstiltskin, but we're going to give it a shot tonight. Probably just read one. Hey, Belsues, what's going on? It's late. It's late for you. Good to see you, Malfunct. Good to see everybody in here. Let's give Rumpelstiltskin a shot without further ado. Then I'm going to go to bed. You're doing my assignment? Good. You should be. It's due tomorrow at 9:30. When I'm going to be in a meeting, not in class. Rumpelstiltskin by the Brothers Grimm. Once there was a miller who was poor, but had a beautiful daughter. Now it happened that he had to speak to the king, and in order to make himself appear important, he said to him, "I have a daughter who can spin straw into gold." The king said to the miller, "That is an art which pleases me well. If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her tomorrow to my palace, and I will try what she can do." And when the girl was brought to him, he took her into a room which was quite full of straw, gave her a spinning wheel and a reel, and said, "Now set to work. If by tomorrow morning you have not spun this straw into gold, you must die." It started a lot darker than I remember. Thereupon he himself locked up the room and left her alone in it. So there sat the poor miller's daughter, and for her life could not tell what to do. She had no idea how straw could be spun into gold, and she grew more and more miserable until at last she began to weep. But all at once the door opened, and in came a little man. Little man is in capitals. And said, "Good evening, Mistress Miller. Why are you crying so?" Maybe I should give him a voice, like a little dwarfy style voice. "Good evening, Mistress Miller. Why are you crying so?" "Alas," answered the girl, "I have to spin straw into gold, and I do not know how to do it." "What will you give me," said the little man, "if I do it for you?" "My necklace," said the girl. The little man took the necklace and seated himself in front of a wheel, and whir, 3 turns, and the reel was full. Then he put another on, and whir, 3 times round, and the second was full too. And this went on till morning, when the straw was spun and the reels were full of gold. By daybreak the king was there, and he saw the gold, and he was astonished and delighted, but his heart became more greedy. He had the miller's daughter taken into another room full of straw, which was much larger, and commanded her to spin that also in one night if she valued her life. The girl knew not how to help herself, and was crying when the door opened again, and the little man appeared and said, "What will you give me if I spin the straw into gold for you?" "The ring on my finger," answered the girl. The little man took the ring, again began to turn the wheel, and by morning had spun the straw into glittering gold. The king rejoiced beyond measure at the sight, but still he had not gold enough. He had the miller's daughter taken to a still larger room full of straw. Why does this guy have just rooms in his castle full of straw? Oh, the pupper's there. You guys can see the pupper. Wrong one. There's a pupper. That's Autumn. Autumn, what are you doing? Licking my leg, bro. Leave me alone. The king rejoiced beyond measure at the sight. Okay. He had the miller's daughter taken to a still larger room full of straw and said, "You must spin this too in the course of this night, but if you succeed, you shall be my wife. Even if she be a miller's daughter," thought he, "I could not find a richer wife in the whole world." Okay, if you're going to threaten a woman to death the 2 nights prior, how are you thinking that she's going to be like, "Oh, yeah, please marry me up. I'm all good to go with this. Yeah, hook a sister up." I don't even know. When the girl was alone, the little man came again for the 3rd time and said, "What will you give me if I spin the straw into you for this time also?" "I have nothing left I could give." "Then promise me if you should become queen, your first child." Hey, loving music. God, it's been a long time since I've seen you. How have you been? Are you streaming anytime soon? It'd be fun to see you again on stream. I think you're just working a ton. It's good to see you, loving music. Yeah. You almost killed me twice. You're a hottie. So now, little dude wants her only kid. These people are just trash. These people are trash garbage, man. Who knows what that will ever happen, thought the miller's daughter. And not knowing how else to help herself in this difficulty, she promised the little man what he wanted, and Spotify got louder. And for that he once more span the straw into gold. When the king came in the morning, he found all that he had wished. He took her in marriage, and the pretty miller's daughter became a queen. A year after, she had a beautiful child, but she never gave a thought to the little man, who suddenly came into her room and said, "Now give me what you promised." Yeah, this is Rumpelstiltskin. The queen was horror-struck and offered the little man all the riches of the kingdom if he'd leave her child. But the little man said, "No, something that is alive is dearer to me than all the treasures in the world." And the queen began to weep and cry, so the little man pitied her and said, "I'll give you 3 days' time. If by that time you can find out my name, then you shall keep your child." So the queen, we need to move off this really happy music for this part of this story. Where am I at? Here we go. There we go. So the queen thought the whole night of names that she had ever heard, and she sent a messenger over country to inquire far and wide for any other names there might be. I think we're going to move to this. I'm going to turn my headphones down. Okay. When the little man came the next day, she began with Casper, Melicor, Balthazar, and said all the names she knew, one after one. But to everyone, the little man said, "That is not my name," which has got to be the most boring shit to do with a day, to sit around and be like, "That's not my name," a million times. I'd be like, you know what? I'll nod if you get it right. You let me know. I'll be over here watching Netflix. On the 2nd day, she had inquiries made into the neighborhood as to the names of the people there. And she repeated to the little man the most uncommon and curious. "Perhaps your name is Short Ribs, or Sheet Shanks, or Lace Leg." But he always answered, "That is not my name." On the 3rd day, the messenger came back again and said, "I have not been able to find a single new name. But as I came to the high mountain at the end of the forest where the fox and hare bid each other good night, there I saw a little house. Before the house, a fire was burning, and round about the fire a little man was jumping. He hopped on one leg and shouted, 'Today I brew, tomorrow I bake, and next the queen shall take.' And well, yes, no one knows my name, that Rumpelstiltskin is my name." Let me try that again. "Today I brew, tomorrow I bake, and next the queen's child take. Ah, well, None knows the same, that Rumpelstiltskin is my name. That was way better. I should have practiced. You may think how glad the queen was when she heard the name. And when soon afterwards, I was spitting bars, Belfu. For real. I'm going to sign a contract. You may think how glad the queen was when she heard the name. And when soon afterwards the little man came in and asked, "Now, mistress queen, what is my name?" "Is your name Conrad?" "No." "Is your name Harry?" "No." "Perhaps your name is Rumpelstiltskin." And there he is. Check him out. There's old boy, all upset. Queen is tidy. She's looking good. You know, especially after having a kid, she's looking pretty thin. Maybe she's been on, keto or something, working out. "The devil has told you that. The devil has told you that," cried the little man in his anger as he stamped his right foot so deep into the earth that his whole leg went in. Then in rage, he pulled at his left leg so hard that with both hands, he tore himself in two. That's it. I don't remember the part where Rumpelstiltskin just ripped his whole ass in two.
I remember him flying away with a spoon.
I don't remember him ripping his whole ass in two. That's a short story. Flying around on a spoon? I don't know. He just went against his biological instincts for that. Yeah. That was non-egoist. All right. You guys can pick our next story here. And then, I remember the OG because I've read it. Oh, yeah. See, I hadn't read it. If I did, it was a long time ago.
I read it.
If you guys see anything you want, tell me what you want. We haven't read Rapunzel. We read... You want Ash Maiden? Ash Maiden it is. Ash Maiden by the Grimm brothers. The wife of a rich man fell sick, and she felt that her end was drawing near. She called her only daughter to her bedside and said, "Dear child, be good and pious, and then the dear God will always protect you, and I will look down at you from heaven and be near you." Thereupon she closed her eyes and departed. Every day the maiden went out to her mother's grave and wept, and she remained pious and good. When the winter came, the snow spread a white sheet over the grave, and when the spring sun had drawn it off again, the man had taken another wife. The woman had brought 2 daughters in the house with her, who were beautiful and of fair face, but vile and of black heart. Now began a bad time for the poor child. "Is the stupid goose to sit in the parlor with us?" said they. "He who wants to eat bread must earn it. Out with the kitchen wench." Oh, this is Cinderella. Cinderella, Ash Maiden. I got you. I got you. Yeah, I never followed that. All right. Okay. They took her pretty clothes away from her and put her in a gray bedground and gave her wooden shoes. Just look at the proud princess, how decked out she is. I didn't realize decked out was a phrase that went back to the Grimm brothers. They cried and laughed and led her into the kitchen. There she had to do hard work from morning till night, get up before daybreak, carry water, light fires, cook and wash. Besides this, the sisters did every unimaginable injury. They mocked and emptied her peas and lentils into the ashes, so that she was forced to sit and pick them out again. I think Ash Maiden is a better name. I agree. In the evening, when she had worked till she was weary, she had no bed to go to, but sleep by the fireside in the ashes. What's wrong with her dad? That's what I want to know, to be just letting this shit happen. Letting their stank-ass stepmom come in here with her stank-ass kids. And on the account that she always looked dusty and dirty, they called her Ash Maiden. For real. It happened once that the father was going to the fair, and he asked the two daughters what he should bring back for them. Beautiful dresses, says one of them. They're not even his daughters. They stepdaughters. Pearls and jewels, said the second. And you, Ash Maiden, doesn't even call his own kid her own name. We don't even know her ass name. Just Ash Maiden. Yeah. F them hoes. We got time for this. What about you, Ash Maiden? What will you have? I will have a better dad, please, who doesn't marry a stank-ho and bring her stanky-ass daughters up in this piece. Father, break me off the first branch which knocks against your hat on the way home. Random choices. I would have chosen a knife to shank my stepsisters. A big knife. So he bought beautiful dresses and pearls and jewels for the two stank-hos. And on his way home, as he was riding through a green thicket, a hazel twig brushed against him and knocked off his hat. He broke off the branch and took it with him. Yeah, that better be a real good stick. Like premium stick here. And when he reached home, he gave the two daughters the things which they had wished for. And to the Ash Maiden, he gave the branch from the hazel bush. Ash Maiden thanked him, went to his mother's grave, and planted the branch on it, and wept so much that a tear fell down and watered it. Okay, that's nice of her. That's nice. She couldn't have planted a knife. Well, she could have planted it in her stepsisters. It grew, however, and became a handsome tree. Thrice a day, Ash Maiden went and sat beneath it and wept and prayed. And little White Bird always came to the tree. If the Ash Maiden expressed a wish, the bird threw down to her what she wished for. All right. You got to enter the quote in there, Danny. You can't just do quote. We don't have any quotes in there yet. Yeah, I agree. It happened that the kings gave a feast. You don't know what you're doing. All right, let's make that the quote. All right, so quote, add, I don't know. WTF, I'm doing. Danny. Now, why's it got to be like that? Hold on. I think it's quote add, now that I think about it. Don't worry, Danny. It's just our first quote for the stream. Thank you, Belle Suze. I'll figure out how to do the quotes. It happened that the king gave a feast, which was to last 3 days. To it, all the beautiful young girls in the country were invited, in order that his son might choose himself a bride. When the two sisters heard they too were to appear in the number, they were delighted. Thank you, Isikia. We're 50% of the way there. They called Ash Maiden and said, comb our hair, brush our shoes, and then fasten our buckles, for we're going to the feast at the king's palace. Ash Maiden obeyed, but wept, because she too would have liked to go with them to the dance. And she begged her mother to allow her to do so. This is stepmother. You go, Ash Maiden? And she said, you're dusty and dirty. Would you go to a feast? You have no clothes and no shoes, and you would dance? As, however, Ash Maiden went on asking, her mother at last said, I've emptied a dish of lentils into the ashes for you. If you have picked them out in 2 hours, you can go with us. The maiden went through the back door into the garden and called, you tame pigeons, you turtle doves, all you birds in the sky, come help me pick the good into the pot and the bad into the crop. And so the birds helped. When 2 white pigeons came in the kitchen window, and afterward the turtle doves. And last of all, the birds sat beneath the sky, came whirring and crowding in, and alighted amongst the ashes. And the pigeons nodded their heads and began to pick, 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 pick. And the rest began to also pick, 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 pick. and they gathered all the good grains into the dish. Hardly had 1 hour passed before they finished, and they flew out again. When the girl took the dish to the mother and was glad and believed she now would be able to go with them to the feast, the birds are more reliable than her father. But the mother said, "No, Ash Maiden, you have no clothes." Lying stepmom. "Now, no, Ash Maiden, you have no clothes and you cannot dance. You would only be laughed at." And as Ash Maiden wept at this, the mother said, "If you can pick 2 dishes of lentils out of the ashes for me in 1 hour, you shall go with us." And she thought to herself, that she can most certainly not do. When the mother emptied 2 dishes of lentils amongst the ashes, the maiden went to the back door of the garden and cried, "You tame pigeons, you turtle doves, and you birds under heaven, come and help me pick the good into the pot and the bad into the crop." The 2 white pigeons came in the window. Yeah, she's really kind of obsessed with lentils in the ashes. I don't know what that's about. Like, why was that a punishment back then? The 2 white pigeons came in by the kitchen window, and afterward the turtle doves. And at last all the birds beneath the sky came whirring and crowding in, and alighted amongst the ashes. The doves nodded their head and began to pick, 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 and the other also began to pick, 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 and they gathered all the good seeds into the dishes. And before a half an hour was done, they had already finished, and they flew out again. The maiden carried the dishes to this mother and was delighted, and she believed she might now go to the feast. What do you guys think is going to happen? But the mother said, "All this will not help you. You cannot go because you ain't got no clothes and you can't dance. You should be ashamed of you." Hoes. Exactly, Danny. Hoes. Then she turned her back on the Ash Maiden and hurried away with her 2 proud daughters. And no one was now at home. Ash Maiden went to her mother's grave beneath the hazel tree and cried, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw over me." Then the little bird threw a gold and silver dress down to her. There's no, the birds are going to teach her how to dance? I'd say something about they mama, but she's just as foul. So there's no fairy godmother here. There's just birds. That's interesting. When the bird threw gold and silver dresses down to her and the slippers embroidered with silk and silver, she began so no gold slippers either. She put on the dress with all the speed and went to the feast. Her sisters and the mother, however, did not know her, and they thought she must be a foreign princess because she looked so beautiful in the golden dress. They never once thought of the Ash Maiden and believed she was sitting at home in the dirt, picking lentils out of the ashes. The prince went to meet her, took her by the hand, and they danced with her. And he danced with her. He would dance with no other maiden, and he never let go of her hand. Dang. Yeah, I don't think she showered up. I don't know how this worked out, but I don't know. If anyone else came and invite her, he would say, "This is my partner." Still, she danced till it was evening, until she wanted to go home. But the king's son said, "I will go with you and bear you company," for he wished to see whom the beautiful maiden belonged. I'll tell you who belonged. Some sorry-ass dad with some grubby-ass stepsisters and stepmom. She escaped from him, however, and sprang into the pigeon house.
It's where they stored the carrier pigeons.
It's where they store the carrier pigeons. The king's son waited until her father came, and then he told him that the stranger maiden had leapt into the pigeon house. The old man thought, "Can it be Ash Maiden?" And they had him bring an axe and a pickaxe so he might hew the pigeon house to pieces. But no one was inside of it. Why don't he just open the door? Why is he going to bust the joint up? I don't know. Do less, my dude. You're coming on so strong. Yeah, that's true. Like, he was trying a bit hard. Like, he could have danced with somebody else, you know? He's kind of a try-hard prince. He's a little sweaty. And when they got home, Ash Maiden laid her in her dirty clothes amongst the ashes, and the dim little oil lamp was burning on the mantelpiece, for Ash Maiden had jumped quickly down the back of the pigeon house and ran to the little hazel tree. There she took off her beautiful clothes and laid them on the grave, and a bird had taken them away again. That bird is strong, carrying whole hold dresses. Next day, the feast began afresh, and her parents and sisters had gone once more. Ash Maiden went to the hazel tree. Oh, it's got a bird closet. That's my bad. That's my bad. Next day, the feast began afresh, and her parents and sisters had gone once more. Ash Maiden went to the hazel tree and said, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw over me." Then the bird went into the bird closet. I got you. And got her a more beautiful dress than on the preceding day. And when the Ash Maiden appeared at the feast of the dress, everyone was astonished by her beauty. The king's son, who had waited till she came, instantly took her by the hand and danced with nobody but her. Yeah, he's giving me the pick-me energy. I give you that. When others came, he said, "Nah, fam, she's my partner." I'd be like, bro. Yeah, the bird probably does need maybe like a little Plato's closet, you know? Yeah. When the evening arrived, she wished to leave, and the king's son followed her. Dang. King's son, Prince, back up off me. I'm going to the bathroom, dude. I got a potty. I don't need your help in here. I don't need, I can wash my own hands. King's son followed her and wanted to see which house she went, but she sprang away from him and into the garden behind the house. Therein stood a beautiful tall tree which hung the most magnificent pears. She clambered like a squirrel so nimbly beneath the branches that the king's son didn't know where she had gone. Stranger, danger. He waited till her father came and said, "The strange maiden escaped from me. I believe she climbed up in the pear tree." And you know what happened? Dude got an axe. Chopped the tree down. But no one was in it. Dad needs to put the axe down and control his house. When they got to the kitchen, the Ash Maiden lay there amongst the ashes as usual, for she had jumped down on the other side of the tree, had taken the beautiful dress of the birds, they put it back in the Etsy store, and they had put on her gray gown. On the third day, when the parents and sisters had gone away, the Ash Maiden went to the mother's grave once more and said, "Shiver and quiver, little tree, silver and gold throw over me." And now the bird threw down her a dress that was more splendid and more magnificent than anything yet. And the slippers were golden. Golden. She's a ninja, I think, Belsuze. I think she's just a ninja. She throws down those little puff balls, poof, and then some shurikens, and busts all up out of that piece. And when she went to the feast in the dress, no one knew how to speak for the astonishment. King's son danced with only her, and if anybody invited her to dance, you know what he said? "Back up off me, smell the coffee, you're scheming and plotting, and I'm killing you softly." When the evening came, okay, I freestyled that a little bit, but I think he said she's my partner. When evening came, Ash Maiden wished to leave, and the king's son was anxious to go with her, but she escaped him so quickly that he couldn't follow. I'm noticing a theme. You need to put a Spidey tracker on her, bro. Do something. Tie her up. She should have used the ninja weapons to fight her dad and her stank stepfamily. Fair. When evening came, the Ash Maiden wished to leave. The king's son was anxious to go with her, but she escaped so quickly that he could not follow her. The king's son, however, had caused the whole staircase to be smeared in pitch. He was like, I got this. Fuck up the staircase. That's what we're going to do. Just jack up the whole staircase in pitch. Random. And there, when she ran down, the maiden's left slipper remained sticking. Oh, see, I just thought she stumbled, but no, dude had put sticky stuff down there. The king's son picked it up, and it was small and dainty and all golden. The next morning he went to his father, and he said to him, "No one shall be my wife, but she whose foot this golden slipper fits." Nobody's going to escape. I got the fly paper on the stairs. Then the two sisters were glad, for they had pretty feet. The eldest went into her shoe in the room and wanted to try it on, and her mother stood by, but she couldn't get her big toe in it. Okay, they're not that pretty if not even your big toe will fit in there.
I think this is just like a scam by the prince to see all their feet.
Oh, this is like a foot scam.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he had a foot fetish. Yeah, Siki, I agree.
Yeah, he showed up with a shoe, and he's like,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right, everyone try this shoe on.
Right.
Afterward, he's like,
Oh, dear God. And then he started OnlyFans. Only feets.
no!
Come on, Prince, with your only feets. Then his mother gave her a knife and said, cut the toe off. When you're a queen, you'll need... Oh, my God. This is messed up, man. He's the creator of Feet Finder. He's going to sell the shoe. All right, check it out. Hold up. She couldn't get her big toe in there. So mom's advice was cut your toe off because when you're the queen, you don't need to go on foot anymore. You can just do without toes. And she did it. The maiden cut the toe off, forced the foot into the shoe, and swallowed the pain and went out to the king's son. And he took her on horse as his bride and rode away with her. They were, however, obliged to pass the grave, and there on the hazel tree 2 pigeons cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe's too small for her, the true bride waits for you. He then looked at her foot and saw how blood was streaming from it. He turned his horse around and took the false bride back home, but she was not, and said she was not the true one, and the other sister showed up. This one went into her chamber and got her toes safely in there, but her heel was too large. Mom busted out the knife. Cut your heel off. When you're queen, you don't need to go on foot. She's going to have some club-footed kids after this. The maiden cut off a bit of her heel, forced it in the shoe, swallowed the pain, and went out to the king's son. He took her on his horse as the bride and rode away with her. They passed the hazel tree. The 2 pigeons on it sat and cried, turn and peep, there's blood within the shoe. The shoe is too small for her, and the bride still waits for you. And you can't take pictures and put her feet on only feets. He looked down at her foot and saw how the blood was running out of her shoe, and how it had stained her white stocking. But when he turned his horse and took the false bride home again, said, this ain't the right one. Have you no other daughter? You out of daughters? Because the feet toe up. Toe up from the flow up, and that one don't even got no toes. That one ain't got no toes, and that one ain't got no heels, and I don't want you grubby, no feet having kids. You got any more? It's like a Pez dispenser. Just shoot out another kid until they cut the feet off. Hey, killer cutie. No, said the man. There's this little stunted kitchen girl which my late wife left behind, but he just threw his own kid and just started talking shit about his own kid. Little stunted kitchen girl which my late wife left behind her, but she could not possibly be the bride. The king's son sent to send her up to him, but the mother answered, oh no, she's much too dirty. He's mean for no reason. She cannot show herself. He insisted on it, and the ash maiden had to be called. And first washed her hands and face, that's good, and went and bowed down before the king's son, who gave her the golden shoe. Then she seated herself on a stool, drew out a foot out of her heavy wooden shoe, and put on the slipper, which fit like a glove. And when she rose up, the king's son looked at her face. Now this shoe was all bloody and had toes up in it. Okay, bloody toes. So I hope they washed the shoe out too, but they made no mention of that. So I think it fit because there was blood up in there. When she rose up, the king's son looked at her face, and he said, recognized the beautiful maiden that he had danced with, and said, that is my true bride. Did no one ask the ash maiden was there no consent involved in any of this? Does she be like, hey, you want to be my wife? Nah, just, you're it. And the mother and 2 sisters were terrified and became pale with rage. He, however, took the ash maiden on his horse and rode away with her. As they passed the hazel tree, the 2 white doves cried, turn and peep, no blood is in the shoe. The shoe is not too small for her, the true bride rides with you. And when they had cried that, the two came flying down and placed themselves on the Ash Maiden's shoulders, one on the right and the other on the left, and remained sitting there. That's some bird pooped up shoulders is what you got there, Ash Maiden. When the wedding with the king's son had to be celebrated, the two false sisters came and wanted to get in favor with the Ash Maiden. One of them was limping their ass off and share her good fortune. When the betrothed couple went to church, the elder was right at the right side and the younger was at the left. And the pigeons pecked out of the eyes of each of them. Now they blind-ass limping stepsisters. Afterward, they came back. The elder was on the left and the younger sister was on the right, and plucked the eyes out of each of them. And thus, for their wickedness and falsehood, they were punished with blindness as long as they live. They deserve that shit. That's a way different story than I remember. No fairy godmother here, just chopped up feet. And it's messed up, man. Whoo-wee. That is messed up. That is messed up. All right, listen. It was just a short one tonight, but I do have a treat for you guys. I got a treat for you guys at the end here. All right. One, keep coming back. We'll be back next Tuesday for sure, but I'm sure I'll do some more pop-up streams like this. I like reading bedtime stories. Two, go to YouTube, the link down below into YouTube. All of them are stored there. I put some date and time stamps. Three, make sure you join the Discord so you can help me pick out things like that. That's coming up. But we are going to raid out to somebody who maybe you know and is a friend of mine. We're going to raid Just Lacretta. Just Lacretta plays on the new Night Court, and she is awesome. She's the actress that plays the Black Bailiff there. And she games almost every night, and I never get a chance to raid her. So I'm going to raid over into her. Make sure you say hello, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Thanks for coming down, everybody. I'll see you all very soon. There's a raid. Say hello to Lacretta for me, and give her a follow, please. She's amazing. Looks like she's gaming tonight. We will raid into her. I'm not sure what she's playing tonight. Oh, she's got a wig on tonight. Doesn't even have her normal hair on. You know it's going to be fun when she's got her wig on. All right, y'all. Good night, Danny. Good night, Belsus. Good night, everybody else.